Hey everyone, welcome back to episode 10. We are in double digits of the Cool Water Show. Haven't been kicked off the network yet, so hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm Kari, and I'm here on behalf of Silent Podcast. We're anything but silent, and I'm with my co-host Katie. Katie, it is 9:26 East Coast time on a Saturday.
Yep.
What do you think Teresa Giudice is doing right now?
She's probably, if she's home, she's probably eating like a meat and cheese, like charcuterie board. With like, I feel like a big thing of like homemade wine. That's what I feel like she's doing right now. If she's out, she's probably doing the same thing just at a restaurant and not homemade wine. That's what I imagine that she's up to right now.
I mean, that's not a bad thing to be doing right now. It
No.
doesn't sound like the worst.
No.
As one who like will actively avoid social plans, I could do those social plans.
Oh yeah, same.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't have to be like the frat party that they had at the restaurant or whatever. That I might like have to
Questionable
wash
if
my
we
hair
could call
for.
that a frat party.
I mean, it was frat party themed, I guess
Yeah.
you could say.
Yeah, exactly.
So we weren't here last week because we really only had one episode to cover, right?
Yeah, I think we covered
well,
the
we
finale of Salt
yeah.
Lake already.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a President's Day or something like that. So
Yes.
we were here on that Monday, and then we got surprised. Bravo spared us for a week of the Real Housewives of Orange County. So bless you, Bravo. One less episode that we had to watch.
And so now we're here, and we've got the first episode of the 3-part reunion for Salt Lake City to talk about. We have the ongoing failing marriage of Dr. Jen to talk about on Orange County. And we have 2 weeks of like straight up drama on New Jersey.
Oh yeah.
And we have decided in the first time of the history of our show that we're going to switch up the order because Salt Lake City has been bringing it every single week that we've been leading off with that. But really, I think we need to start off with New Jersey. Like, let's start off with those big haymakers that this series is bringing us.
Yes. I recently saw, I think today online, that they are only going to have 15 episodes this season.
Including
that's a crime.
The reunion?
I think including the reunion, which is a crime to me because these women bring it every season. They bring it and we just get robbed of them. But we're going to be sitting through 20 episodes of OC? Doesn't make sense.
God, I know. There's just like a lot of yelling on New Jersey though. That's like my one negative about it, I would say, is like, whoa, I need to be ready. Like, I have to give myself a little prep talk of like, all right, turn the volume down a couple because it's about to get loud.
Yeah. I'm here for it. This is this is like the meat and potatoes of like Housewives for me. Like, this is like the sustenance that I need is like the women of New Jersey.
All right. Well, can you please take us through what has happened these last 2 weeks? Because I feel like we've had a lot go down.
We have had a lot go down. We are at the Jersey Shore, which is like a staple the last couple of seasons on the Real Housewives of New Jersey. In Dolores' very oddly shaped home. I don't know if you noticed how oddly her home is shaped, but it's like very tall and narrow. It's like a little strange.
I did notice that.
And Melissa has a house there. Teresa used to have a house there. I think she was renting a house, but then the rental fell through or she got her dates mixed up. So she's staying with Jennifer, who's also renting a house there. And that's kind of really where we are right now. It seemed like, remind me, because I think you watched it more recently than I did. Did we start off last week's episode at the frat party with the resolution of the fight? Okay.
Yes.
So it's another physical fight that kind of goes nowhere on Housewives with Dolores and Jackie. So, I think we really start getting into it when we get to the Jersey Shore, and Dolores kind of brings up this whole situation of like, Jackie seems like she's being Jennifer's really good friend, but actually she said, I don't feel bad for Bill. He shouldn't stick his dick in someone. So that was apparently very offensive to Jennifer, which like, it's kind of true. He shouldn't have done that. Like, what are we mad about here? And that was kind of like the drama of that episode. Everybody hates Jen. And like, that's the thing. It's like these women are so on two different sides. Here, there are like two core alliances. We have Margaret, who's like the head of the anti-Jennifer alliance along with Melissa. Jackie was like kind of on the other side, but like straddling both ends, and so is Dolores. But Dolores is really like very clearly moving toward that side. And then we have Teresa, and Jennifer, and those are kind of like how the show is split up. And then we have Tracy, who I have a lot of feelings on, but we'll get there when we talk about this week's episode.
Barbers.
Yes, okay. Tracy is Tiki Barber's wife.
Wife, got it.
Don't know why we need her, but that's fine. We'll get there.
Because it brings in Tiki Barber.
Yeah, like really awkwardly, actually. Yeah. And then at the end of the episode, there's supposed to be a party. Teresa was supposed to be holding a barbecue for all the women, but because her home fell through or whatever happened, Jennifer is hosting the barbecue for her. But all these women hate Jennifer. So it's like a little awkward that Jennifer's going to have this party. Teresa ends up at the end of the episode of last week storming out because something happens with Louis. And there's a story out there. I'm still not really clear on what the new story is. It's not the video. It's like something where he's like something a little bit like crooked and his family hates him. Yeah, it's very strange. So he calls Teresa. The whole episode, everybody's like, "Where's Louis? Where's Louis?" And she's like, "Oh, he's in traffic. He's in traffic." Then he calls her. She's like, "Turn the mic." He says to turn the microphone off. She kind of storms out. She yells at the producer. She says, "Get the cameras out of my fucking face." She freaks out. She leaves. So we start this week's episode with Teresa kind of like nowhere to be found.
I'm a little confused because like Teresa knows that this is her livelihood. Like she's been doing this for literally the whole series, right? And so I think it's kind of strange for her, especially of anyone, to be like, no, he doesn't need to do this on camera. Like, like you've said, they waited for her to get out of jail to film a season. Like, how do you think? I get in one way, it's like, well, I'm the favorite and they'll do what I want. But at the same time, like, no, your storyline drives almost everybody else's. So how do you think that you're going to get away with like shielding him as much as it is like he didn't sign up for this? He's dating you, so he signed up for this.
Right. So I think you make a really good point. And I think that's why Teresa thinks and knows that she can get away with acting like this on camera, because she knows that the show revolves around her. And she's kind of said as much in the Ultimate Girls Trip. She said that, you know, she's never had a good season on this show. She always has to kind of defend herself against these women. And I think she sees that happening now, and she wants to protect Louis from what kind of she's gone through. And I can kind of understand where she's coming from. I will say, I want to create a disclaimer because I know there are a lot of like heated sides on this. I'm fully on Teresa's side 100%. I think everybody here knows I'm a Teresa fan. I don't defend her for everything. I think a lot of the things that she does are a little questionable, but in this situation, she's their meal ticket. There would be no show without Teresa. She knows that she can push the limits with production and kind of, you know, dictate a little bit what can be shown and what can't, because there's no show without her. What else are these women bringing? To be fair, maybe a little bit this season between Margaret and
Jennifer.
Yes, thank you. But that's really it. So yeah, I think she knew she could get away with it, and that's why she did it.
I'm trying. I don't dislike Teresa by any means, but I know that you are a big Teresa fan. And so I'm trying to view from the lens of like, I'm supposed to like her, and I'm not there yet.
I don't think you have to. It might be a controversial opinion that I am a Teresa fan. It's just that I did a rewatch recently over the pandemic, and I used to not. I used to be really anti-Teresa, and when I rewatched, I saw everything in a whole brand new light. And now I'm a full supporter.
Yeah, I think I'm just struggling a little bit because like this is besides the. I mean, I really enjoyed her on Our Hook a Tug, but I don't think that we're seeing the same her. Like, it's different Teresa's, but I'm struggling a little bit right now with her, and I can't. I think part of the reason is, it just seems like she's getting away with the avoiding, I guess, in a way that kind of is a little, she has like some similarities to me in terms of when Nene Leakes had her bad seasons for Atlanta, that it was like intolerable. And she would be like, I'm not, nope. It's I'm like seeing similarities in that way, I guess. But like the great NeNe Leakes seasons when she's like
great.
willing to be there and being a part of it and all this are like, she's one of the best housewives ever.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just like I've only seen her for a few episodes. I'm struggling with her a bit, but it's not like I'm on a side right now, I guess, for anybody, but I'm struggling with Teresa at the moment. I want to like her. I'm trying my best, but I'm not close to being there yet.
It makes sense. And I a lot of like the discourse that I've seen online about Teresa right now is that she is over the show. It seems like she's very over it. She doesn't want to film, and kind of exactly what you're saying. She's avoiding a lot. And I think again, like she knows that she kind of like holds the keys. She's the star of the show. The show revolves around her, so she can get away with it. And I do think that is when the show becomes a little bit of a problem, or like the housewives become a bit of a problem. I think Bethany had that a little bit. I think to an extent, maybe Lisa Vanderpump, but Lisa Vanderpump also, there was another like matriarch of the show, and it was Kyle. Like if there were two OGs of Jersey, I think it would be a little bit different. But Melissa is the longest tenured, and she's like a flop. She brings nothing. So like and Teresa just hates her. I mean, it's obvious that she hates her, and they don't have a good relationship. So when the cameras are off, so it's like she's not a formidable opponent for Teresa. She doesn't have anybody to like go head to head with that can kind of check her. She's unchecked right now. And I feel like NeNe was a little bit unchecked as well. Like there were some heavy hitters in Atlanta, but I don't feel like anybody was like at NeNe's level. And I don't feel like anybody's at Teresa's level, where with Lisa Vanderpump or a Bethany or something, she had a Ramona against her. Lisa Vanderpump had a Kyle against her. So I think, like, because she's the only OG standing, she knows that she can get away with a lot of these things. And, she holds the keys.
Yeah. I will say that, not to go too much to Atlanta, is that when other longstanding people challenge NeNe, instead of it, for the most part, being confrontation, NeNe just about faced and like got the fuck out. And you wouldn't see her for like 3 episodes after.
Yeah.
With the other women, she would like 100% avoid. Where at least like, I mean, we have Teresa coming back with Louis and stuff. So she isn't avoiding completely, but I think it's like between the avoiding and the overprotection of this grown man, who also like, I just don't understand why Teresa's making such a big deal of like, don't bring you shouldn't have brought this video up, Margaret. Like, you shouldn't have brought, like, why? Everyone has seen it. You're gonna pretend like that no one, it's disrespectful to bring that up. Like, if anything, I think it's more disrespectful for everybody to be talking about it behind his back when he could just be like, yes, this has happened. This is out there. If you have questions, ask me. Here's your opportunity. And if you aren't going to ask me now, if you talk about it after this, you will deal with the ramifications of it. Like, instead, it's becoming such a bigger deal because she's like, you don't owe them an explanation. And that, I think, is the other part, is like, it feels like she's defending Louis like she would have to defend maybe her like 12-year-old child from the press, like, that's the type of overprotection I'm catching. And it's like, yo, just let him deal with it. It would be so much easier.
Yeah. It's strange. It's kind of giving me like Vicky Gunvalson not showing Brooks's cancer records when that could have very easily cleared things up, but we knew he was faking cancer. So obviously it makes sense that she didn't want to do that. But yeah, I mean, it could put it to bed, but I do think that she's so sick of Margaret digging things up against people that she's just like, you don't owe them anything, and doesn't want him to give them any more like ammo against him. But I don't think it's the right approach. I think that whole conversation. So yeah, Teresa comes back in this past week's episode, comes back. The women come to Jennifer's house and Teresa is not there. And then they all kind of find out that Teresa stormed off. So that also like makes it a bigger issue, is that they hate Jen. They all show up at the exact same time. Teresa's not there as the buffer. And then they all find out that like Teresa stormed off. So then it just like makes it this bigger thing.
I need you to use the proper terminology, which is a huff out.
She had a huff out.
That literally made me laugh out loud. I was cracking
that was
up
funny
when they were talking about that.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. So she comes back with Louis. They walk in, and then it's just like, it all goes left from there.
Yeah. The it's interesting, like how much this video and the protection of, and I guess like the second leak is driving so much. Yeah. I guess I just think it's unnecessary in a way, because I know you mentioned Margaret like digs stuff up on people, which I haven't seen yet, obviously. But
she stirs the pot. She stirs the pot. That's what I think it is.
And I know Jen has a history of digging things up on people too, from what I've like gathered. Mm-hmm. But no one's digging shit here. Like, it's literally, they all probably have Google alerts set for each of their names that get sent to them.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't digging. It's there. Like, you did not have to go out of your way to see this.
Yeah. And I think, to be fair, I don't even really think Jennifer in the past has dug many things up. Last season, the drama was that Teresa started this rumor about Evan. So like Jen didn't even really have a part in it. She did, like, you know,
wasn't she like calling people, supposedly calling.
So this was off like in between the seasons. Gotcha. We didn't see that on camera. Mm-hmm. But in the after show, which I never watched, but I saw a clip of it on Twitter, mm-hmm. Frank admits that he supposedly knew who the girl was and did tell Bill that he knew who the girl was and that the girl was. So what Jennifer is saying is true. Frank did say to Bill. So this is like the catalyst of this like argument that they have with Jennifer. And it actually is true. Frank just didn't go like, yeah, I did that. And Bill didn't defend his wife. So I think we're jumping ahead to that. But, you know, I think there's a lot. There's just
Bill
a lot
seems out on everything. Bill seems like he is over this entirely.
Yeah, I think so. And I have thoughts about that too. But let's focus on Louis, and then we'll move over to the other man of the episode. There are many men of the episode, I guess.
It's true.
But yeah, so then we get into it with Louis and Teresa. Teresa trying to stop Louis from talking to everybody. Louis kind of snapped a little bit at Margaret. And I want to get your opinion on like, what do you think about that? He said, on your best day, you wouldn't intimidate me. And then he also kind of snapped on Teresa, which like, I didn't like that.
What did he say to Teresa? I don't even remember.
2 eyes, 1 mouth, 2 ears, 1 mouth. Yeah, you have to listen more, learn to listen more.
So condescending throughout this whole thing, to which like, as a staunch feminist who also does not know when to shut the fuck up when people are being disrespectful, and to just, you know, sometimes you just got to like let it ride and know that you're never going to change this person. I would have been running my mouth so hard back at him.
Yeah. I didn't love that.
Yeah. I didn't like I mean, why do you need to? And I don't know, maybe there's some like conversations we've missed out on like, oh, Margaret's trying to intimidate you by doing this, or, you know, like, why is the word intimidate being used? Because to me, especially like as someone with my stature, I'm 4'10". When like a grown-ass man decides that he needs to stand close and get over me, like, to me, you're trying to intimidate me right now.
Right.
So it usually comes with like, intimidate for me doesn't really happen verbally unless it gets like super aggressive, like, oh, I'm gonna kill you. But intimidate usually means something physical. And so that I was like, well, of course she probably doesn't intimidate you. You are twice her size. But like, what point are you trying to make here? That like, you could, if it was phrased differently, I maybe could have like seen what he was saying. Like, no matter how much you run your mouth, you're not going to scare me. It does not matter what you say. But like, when you choose the word intimidate, it feels like there is a specific purpose for the intensity of that word.
Yeah, for sure. It was a strange word choice. Absolutely. And I don't think Margaret was trying to intimidate anybody. I think she was trying to just dig up some dirt and cause some drama, which, to be fair, is her job. So it was weird. I didn't like the way that he spoke to any of the women in this scene. And I was kind of having Louis' back before this. And then when that all happened, I was kind of like, maybe I don't have Louis' back so much after this. But I thought his story was interesting because he was saying he was sorry that he didn't want to marry his former fiance, girlfriend. But whatever in the video, he talked about marrying her. So it seemed a little off, his explanation. I don't know. The whole thing, I don't think the video is that big of a deal. I really don't. I think like however you choose to like cope with your shit, that's how you do it. It's not hurting anybody. You know, it is what it is. Like, just leave it alone. Leave it alone. And I think, you know, Teresa saying he has a past, I have a past. A lot of people are harping on that. But I think we have to understand, like, Teresa does have a past. She is a felon. She went to jail. He is looking beyond that. So like she's looking beyond some of his faults. Like just let it go. Let it go.
I do have a bit of an issue with like we all have a past. Like, okay, some pasts deserve to be considered though. Like, let's not. I don't think that that's the greatest blanket statement of like, you know what, we've all done things before. Well, yeah, there's certain things that if someone's done, I want nothing to fuck to do with them. And
well, so, that is for sure. I definitely agree with that. But I think she's kind of like referring to, you know, him and his ex relationship, former relationships.
I mean, if anything, I wouldn't be as concerned about like the who he's talking to or what the content so much of the video is. Like, is he asking to marry this girl? Is he breaking up with her? Whatever.
Right.
It's more so like, how are you comfortable going to like a beach with a bunch of grown-ass naked men and beating each other up? Like, what cult are you in? That would be more my concern out of this video than anything.
Well, I think that's like what everybody's trying to find out, right? Like, what the fuck is this video?
Like, everyone's okay with having like past relationships. No one expects you to be this like 40-something-year-old virgin coming into this. Like, that's not it. It's more just like, how did you end up at this spot and what you are doing as a way to deal with whatever you had going on in that relationship? That is my big question. Like, who are you friends with that encouraged this? Because he said it was his like buddies thing. Like, you need better friends, Louis.
Yeah. And, you know, it's funny. Joe Gorga was on Watch What Happens Live this week. And he said that the first time he ever met Louis, he was talking about, I think it's called The Warriors or something. Yeah. He was talking about this like self-help, whatever it is that he is involved in. So he's like, I knew about it because he very openly talks about it, it seems. So like, whatever, if that's your thing, that's your thing. It's fucking weird. But if that's how you cope with stuff, I guess like it's better than coping in some other ways.
Yeah.
Maybe you just have aggression that you need to get out on naked men on a beach. I don't know.
I would say an area of concern is the conflict of what he's telling people is happening and what is clearly being said in the video. If I was Teresa, especially watching that back, I can understand in the moment because you're like all heated up about what's going on, but watching it back, that would definitely be a, wait, what? Huh?
Well, I think they planned it. It seemed like they planned what to say because even when they were in, looked like a Sprinter van, maybe the same one from SLC, she was like, there's cameras in here, like warning him that there are cameras in there. So I think they had a minute to like connect when she was off camera, talked about what they were going to do and say. And then, you know, I think she got very heated in the moment and was just like, no, you don't know. So I think but I think she probably knew. I think she knows the truth, and then I think she knows what Louis was going to say, and I think she probably knows that those are two different things, and she probably helped him come up with whatever story he was going to come up with.
It wasn't a good story.
No, it was definitely not a good story.
I just feel like that introduces more potential drama, but
for sure.
I guess it's part of their job is to do that. So
I guess
who knows? But it just seems like she doesn't want to deal with more drama from it. So I don't know. I don't know enough of like them to feel like confident in making guesses about the behaviors, you know, seeing that this is like episode 4 or 5 or whatever.
Yeah. Well, they're a brand new, you know, we don't really know them. I don't know them either, you know. They're a newish relationship, at least for TV. They're new. So it's interesting to see their dynamic actually play out on screen. Because like, as people on the show have said, there's been a lot of things that have come out about this guy. Some of it seems like it was like circumstantial, like he was in a bad relationship with his ex, probably the same ex that this video is about. And it seemed like a lot of the two of them, and it seemed like she was like leaking stories about him when he got with Teresa. So I understand and I can give some benefit of the doubt, but I do feel like it's a little questionable, some of it. I'm not fully out on him yet, though. I did not like the way he spoke to the women, though. That is part of it.
It almost is like not surprising from him, like just the way that he carries himself. That happening wasn't like, oh my God, I would never expect this from you. It's kind of like, oh, you are who I would guess you are.
Right. Totally. Agreed.
So, after that, though, shit pops off.
Shit pops off. We get to Jennifer.
Right.
Jennifer, so I think, how did that come up? So I think Teresa brought it up about Margaret. And Teresa started like having Jen's back, just kind of going in on Margaret, like what you did to Margaret was not okay. What you did to Margaret was not okay. And then it all spun out in Melissa being like, and Joe being like, well, what she did to us is not okay, which total false equivalency. Melissa did start with Jen. She's the first one that posted something on Instagram. Jen is not the first one. So after the reunion, Melissa made a huge post and Jen responded. And that's kind of what happens often with Jen. Like Jen doesn't really start it. She kind of like finishes it and not in the best way. So she just like can't really, she doesn't know when to stop. I think it's the problem, but people do continue to poke her.
The word crooks keeps getting like Melissa and Joe keep getting caught up on that word. Joe made a comment of like, it cost me so much money in business or whatever. Like, shut the fuck up. No, it didn't. I refuse to believe that one social media post from a cast member on a show that is meant to revolve around the drama that happens between these people cost you business, like acquisitions and money. Stop that right now. Absolutely not. Stop
I've read a lot on the internet that Joe Gorga is kind of a crook. I mean, allegedly got banned from Home Depot for not paying his construction account at Home Depot. A lot of issues with like some of the homes that he flipped and tried to sell. So there are issues there. It's not like it's all unfounded. She didn't make anything up, which maybe is worse, I guess, that she's bringing light to it. But I also noticed in the screenshot, she says crooked. She didn't say you're crooked. She says crooked, which is a little different than
it's completely different suffix.
Yeah. So it's interesting that they're like focusing just on the crook part instead of the crooked family. So I don't know. I think a lot is being made out of this Instagram post for like no reason at all. And to me, Melissa and Joe need a storyline. And that's every season with them. And I know obviously you haven't watched past seasons. There's always something that they cling to every season. So one season she had some sister that a psychic told her existed from her dad. And she was like, I'm going to find my fake psychic sister. Never found the sister, probably doesn't exist, totally fake storyline. The next one is like, I'm going to have a baby. And then that's why Jennifer is like, you're not having a baby. You just do things for TV. And she's kind of right. Her delivery is not great, but she's kind of right. Like Melissa does do a lot of these things and like puts it on for TV. So, you know, I think the Gorgas don't like that someone's finally calling them out on their shit for real instead of just like letting them slide.
It seems like Jen catches a lot of flack for saying what everyone else either says behind each other's back or says what everyone is thinking. Exactly. But I do agree, like, if she were able to change the way she says things, I don't think she'd have as many issues because as someone who, like, is, again, watching for the first time, I sit here conflicted watching her because it's like she's not wrong in what she's saying. However, if I was in that group of women, I think I would be opposed to her too, just because the way she like, it almost feels like she weasels her way in to make those comments sometimes unnecessarily. Like, yes, they are true. No one can take that away from you. But like, why we gotta do this way? Why?
Yeah, she hits below the belt.
Seems like very snaky.
Yeah, she definitely hits below the belt, and you're right. The way that her delivery is not great. But I find myself not being able to side with the other women this season because I think what they did to her and Bill is just kind of gross. And I understand that people think that maybe she was a hypocrite because of things that she said about Margaret, but she admitted, and I think this is something that we've said on this podcast a couple of times, that like very obviously this was a trigger for her because she had this past situation with Bill that she hadn't dealt with. So she sees Margaret out and about bragging, talking very openly about being in an affair and her kids not talking to her because of this affair. And it probably really bothered her because she had all this unresolved stuff with Bill. So there's a reason for it, you know, and not that it's a defense for the things that she said to Margaret, because it's not, but now that we understand where it's coming from, it feels a little bit like less hateful, I think.
Yeah, I do think that Margaret had a pretty interesting point though, in how she feels that Jennifer, right? I didn't just like forget her name. I don't know why.
Me Jennifer, too. I keep getting Jennifer and Jackie like.
I want to call her Jen, but I don't know if she goes by that. And so it's like.
I think she goes by Jen. We can call her Jen.
All right. Yeah. We're on a nickname basis with her.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
Yeah, we're homies. So the way that she perceives Jen perceiving it is that like Jen still takes ownership of she's the reason that her husband cheated. That like it's her fault. It's always the woman's fault that the man cheats, regardless of how or why the circumstances have come up that the man has made this decision or the woman has made this decision to cheat as well. Like it's always the woman's fault. And I'm not 100% sure that that's how Jennifer does perceive it, but I can understand Margaret saying that in terms of like there has been some inclination of like, well, it's like if I had done this, then he wouldn't have done that. And so I do think that is interesting. However, if your perspective is that, then shouldn't I think the right thing to do would be like educate her and to try and change her frame of mind on this versus constantly just going at it about it. Like you have to be able to maybe even remove yourself from the conversation and not talk about your affair, but just talk about affairs in general. And it doesn't always have to be like what the woman did or didn't do to cause the man to make these decisions. Because women also cheat on women and men also cheat on men. So there doesn't always have to be like a thing. So I can understand Margaret's view on that, but I just don't like the way that she is deciding that because this is what she thinks Jennifer's view is, this is how she's going to oppose her versus let's all woman up and try to break these like internal misogynistic views that you have.
I would love to see Jennifer and Margaret have like an actual thoughtful conversation about this because they started to at that party when they kind of apologized to each other. So something that we didn't talk about, I guess, last week is after the fight kind of took place, Jennifer and Margaret had a little bit of a conversation that seemed amicable. And Jennifer said, you know, it's my fault. My family's going to think it's my fault. His in-laws, you know, my in-laws are going to think that it's my fault. So, you know, that's why she had some shame in the fact that Bill had an affair. And I think a lot of women probably feel that way. A lot of men probably feel that way. A lot of anybody that is the victim of that feels that way. So yeah, I think, you know, and Margaret did very much say like, it's not nothing you could have done would have changed it. This is on him. This is not on you. And it would be nice to see them actually sit and have a real chat about that. But I don't think we're going to see that. No. Something tells me we're not going to see that.
Especially because there's only like 8 episodes this season.
It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. But so shit pops off after that. Jen and Melissa go back and forth with each other about the Instagram comment. Jen does try to explain where she came from. You posted this thing about me, so I retaliated, and this is why I said this. And it just like didn't go over well. Yeah. She calls Joe Gorga a little bitch girl, which is just really funny to me. And you know, to be honest, Joe gets in the mix a lot. These husbands on New Jersey, they get paid. Let's not get it twisted. They get paid. So they are essentially house husbands that are like official house husbands. They're not like the husbands of some other franchises. So they are paid to kind of get into the mess a little. Yeah. And Joe does it. And Joe, to be honest, is probably the only reason that Melissa's still on the show. So he stirs it. So I don't know if I would call him a little bitch girl, but she's not wrong in the sentiment that he's like in the mix of a lot of these things. And then I don't even know how it starts to get physical, but Melissa gets up and starts aggressively walking to Jen with her finger pointing, and Jen grabs her arm. And it turns into a little bit of a tussle where she's like, you know, get out of my house. I want to know your opinion on who you think was the aggressor in this situation and who you think was in the right.
Melissa, I don't know if there was anybody in the right, but I think Melissa was the aggressor.
Okay, yeah, me too. And I think a lot of people after airing see that, but I think in the moment, a lot of people were really hard on Jen in that moment for grabbing Melissa like that, but you cannot get up in somebody's face like that and expect them not to have a retaliation. And I'm glad later on the episode, Dolores said that to Melissa. Yeah. Like, you really came up on her like you were going to hit her. So she's like, I would have hit you if you did that to me.
Yeah. And I also think that obviously physical contact is physical contact, but there is a difference in like grabbing someone's arm, which I think is almost like a defensive reaction of like,
yep, she was defending herself.
Versus if she were to like wind up and hit her in any sort of way or push her even, like I think when you grab someone, it's more defense than I mean obviously depending on the grab, but what we saw, it wasn't, I don't think that she was attacking her as much as it was like a reactionary with Melissa's hand up doing the Italian talking with your hands shit, like they her or like having her arm grabbed, I don't think was violence as much as it was like in the moment reaction to like, oh shit, if she's gonna hit me, it's gonna be coming from this hand. So
yeah, I totally agree. It felt like she was just defending herself against Melissa coming at her. What is she supposed to do? Just stand there and let whatever happens happen? And what would Melissa have done is what I want to know. Like, what is Melissa thinking that she's going to do? I saw a TikTok actually that was pretty funny of some girl talking about Melissa. And she was like, you know how you can tell Melissa's like not about that life is because she gets up and she takes a long way around. She'll walk around a table. She'll make a whole scene out of it. And she's like, if Melissa really wanted to tussle, she would have just gotten up and got right in her face and like went for it. And she's like, you know, Melissa isn't about that life where she doesn't want to fight anybody, which I actually thought was pretty funny. But I just don't know what Melissa expected in that moment. Like, what do you expect? You're at her home or her rental home, whatever, at the place where she is, at her domain, and you're up in her face. Of course, she's going to move your arms away from you. And the way the women reacted in that moment, specifically Jackie, was like shocking to me. I was like, this is the reason why now you don't like, you all hate Jennifer. She's not allowed at your house now. Like, you were the aggressor here. You approached her in a seemingly like you wanted to get violent with her. And all she did was grab your arm and say, get out of my house. Like, I didn't see anything wrong that she did.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I also just want to bring up, and I don't know if it's maybe because I'm from a different generation or from a different like class of wealth, which is much lower than these women.
Same.
That such a big deal gets made when a woman speaks poorly about the other woman's husband.
Right.
And I think not as much gets made if one of the husbands speaks poorly about the women, which I mean, again, is like that internalized misogyny and shit. But like, what's the big deal calling him a bitch? Like, why is that? Why are we making a scene about that? I don't think that's like, that is that bad. I could call you a lot worse.
Yeah.
So, and I've seen it across franchises here. Like you have the whole like Nene and Cynthia falling out was because Nene calling Peter a bitch. And quite frankly, he was kind of
Peter was a bitch. Yeah, he was being a bitch.
Like, we're calling it like we see it here, and so I don't get why it always becomes such a big deal. And then there's like the whole man view of like, I'm gonna stay out of the woman's drama, but you actually don't.
No, you don't. You stir the pot behind the scenes, and then you don't want to get into it when the women are getting into it. You just want to sit on the sidelines.
Yeah, but you also, like, your pillow talk the night before was an hour of talking about how much of a wench one of these women is.
Yeah.
I can't stand the hypocrisy with it, and it makes me mad when it happens, truly.
Yeah, no, same. I think that is one thing on New Jersey is that there is a lot of misogyny, either internalized or from the men. Like, there's a lot of it on New Jersey. And I think it's a little cultural. They're like old school Italian. So it's unfortunate. And that is one thing that I don't love about New Jersey is that, you know, even Teresa has said a few things in the past that are not cool. Same with Jennifer, you know, like I think a lot of the slut shaming is not okay. And that's what I mean when there are a lot of things that Teresa says that I don't approve of or can't defend. But I do think in general, she's usually on the right side of things, or she's at least like defending herself from people who are continuously coming for her. So anyway, everybody leaves, and then Teresa stays, Dolores stays, and Melissa has a little freak out that Teresa stayed and was like, if this were me, Teresa would be mad at me. But what I think Melissa and Joe do not see is that Melissa is starting this and Teresa is staying at their house. Like, where are they going to go? Where are her and Louis going to go?
She's going to go take a walk around the block to show her leaving.
Right. And oh, okay. One thing that we didn't get to is Bill. So Bill wants nothing to do with this. Walks away, goes away.
Yes.
And once everybody leaves, they're like, Bill hates her. Bill hates his wife. He wants nothing to do with this. And I don't like that because I do think Bill got thrown under the bus here in a way to attack Jennifer.
Mhm.
And he just wants to be done with this. He had his skeletons come out of the closet. He's obviously very uncomfortable filming. You can tell he didn't come and open the door for anybody. He doesn't want to be involved in the drama. And I don't like that for Jennifer, who already expressed to Margaret that she feels like this was her fault, for these women to then be like, he hates his wife. He wants nothing to do with his wife. He can't stand her. He didn't defend her. He wanted nothing to do with her. It's like, stop, like, just stop with this. Like, it obviously he's like dealing with the fact that like all of this is about to come out publicly and it's going to impact his family and his kids. I'm not defending him for what he did, but obviously there's a reason why he's acting the way that he is. This episode got me all of my feelings about everything.
Yeah, I do think that, I mean, he's in such a tough spot because, like we said, this happened, what, a decade ago?
Yeah. Right? And now it's all coming out again.
Yeah, and that is so hard because, like, I mean, to move on from infidelity in a relationship and to be successful in it is already difficult. And then to, like, build your family and have your kids protected from this, like, indiscretion that you had, and all of a sudden it comes back up, like, it has to be so overwhelming because you thought you've like gotten past it, and then here we are,
here it is,
back at square one, having to deal with it. So, like, I do have some empathy for this guy. However, I also kind of wish that he would, like, if the rest of the men are gonna fucking be as bitchy and catty as the women, like, you have to.
Yeah, he has to get into it.
You have
to. He has to.
Otherwise, like, you are doing nothing for your wife and letting her, she's dying out there, like, figuratively dying. And quite frankly, like we've said, there's a lot of internalized misogyny that if he were to say the same shit that she's saying, like, it might carry more weight within this group of people because a man is saying it.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree. I hope we see, it seems like next week we might see a little more of Bill standing up. I don't know what that whole preview is about, but we can get to it when we get to it. But yeah, I hope that he's the one that really put her into this situation. So it would be nice to see him have her back a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. Especially with the point you just made. Like, she didn't cheat on him. He cheated on her. No, you're right.
And she's been carrying that. So,
and protecting him. Like,
to
keep that a secret from especially the people who are closest to you. Like, to not be able to go to your closest friends and be like, yeah, I'm fucking struggling because I found this out. Or like, it's the 3-year anniversary of this. Or like, hey, I noticed that he's going to this place that he used to frequent with his like side chick, whatever. Like, to not have that outlet, that has to be so difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's all in defense of him. And he's just like, no.
Yeah.
I'm not
He's kind of walking away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need Bill to do a little better. Do better, Bill.
It's all right.
You have it in you.
We believe in you.
Yeah, you can do it.
All right, that was the first episode. It's transitioning into the second episode. Because the second episode is the pink party, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
And now I'm like, I feel like because we just talked so much about the first episode, I'm trying to remember what happened.
The fight and everything happened in the second episode. So the first episode ended with Teresa storming off. So anything from Teresa coming back was in this week's episode.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like it was a weird transition to be continued situation. So yeah, then we go to this pink party. Melissa's making a big deal about how Teresa didn't defend her. Teresa still goes to the pink party the next day. Jen does not go. And let's talk about Tracy for a second, because this is the Thursday. First of all, I want to talk about the fashion of these women and the makeup and the just choices that we made here. What was Melissa wearing? You have a pink party and you're wearing a maxi skirt from like the year 2011. I was expecting to see like platform flip-flops and like a spaghetti strap tank top and like a low-waisted, maybe even if she picked the skirt up a little more, made it high-waisted, it would have been, I don't know. It was like that was a mess to me. And then Tracy is talking to Tiki Barber, and whatever she's doing with the curling iron and her hair looked insane. And today my hair is a mess. I will admit I took a nap on the couch. It got fucked up. It's fine. But usually I try and put myself together. She's like, I don't know what she was doing with her curling iron. And then her makeup was like from the early 2000s. She looked crazy to me. So that was first. I was like, what is this girl doing? Why is she even on my screen? And then she just comes in hot, coming for Teresa to defend Melissa. And I'm like, who are you again? Why are you here? Are you just trying to get a paycheck by again coming for the OG of the show? Like, many have tried it. Shut up, Tracy. You're bringing nothing. That's just how I
It
how
does
I
seem
feel.
like she was brought in to give Melissa backup.
Which Melissa doesn't need. She has Jackie, she has Margaret, like she has a crew of her own. She doesn't need this. So why is Tracy on my screen is what I want to know. Like, why do we have to be subjected to Tracy and Tiki Barber?
But she's not even like a housewife this season. So
no,
she must be a friend of.
she's working to get that. Well, they don't hold anything in New Jersey, but she's working to get the.
Oh, they don't?
No, they don't. They don't hold anything. They just stand there.
What would you have them hold if you could choose? I think my answer would be a cup of water because they say water so weird in New Jersey. It's like water.
Yeah, they do.
That would be what I would have them all holding.
I'm trying to think, and no shade to New Jersey, but I'm a New Yorker, so I have to shade New Jersey. It's in my blood. I would say they would try and hold like a piece of pizza or a bagel, but it would be like the second best pizza and bagel or coffee or Chinese food that you can get because New York has like the number one of everything. So they would be like second, like, you know, holding something second to New York.
Really, Jersey like only has so more like landmarkish type of stuff. Like the Jersey Turnpike is the worst highway in the country
on the earth. Yeah.
And then like the Jersey Shore, like where are they supposed to hold? Like I don't know. You can't even hold anything that
like a t-shirt. We'll go to the t-shirts from the t-shirt store from Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Truly. I don't know what they would hold.
Yeah. What is New Jersey known for? Other than trying to be New York, I don't know.
America.
Yeah.
I mean, if anyone from New Jersey is
listening, no shade. It's all in good fun. It's a good ribbing. It's a good ribbing from a New Yorker to New Jersey. Yeah, I don't know. Something that smells bad? What smells bad? I don't know. Aside from New Jersey.
New Jersey, exactly.
Yeah, New Jersey. We love you, New Jersey. We're just joking.
I mean, I tolerate you. You're fine.
Yeah, we tolerate you.
We tolerate you. I just like
you're there.
I would never choose to live there per se. I'm from New England, so like it's the same. It's not exactly like the New York New Jersey rivalry, but I mean, it's close enough where I've had too many experiences. I got rear-ended in New Jersey. My friend was like, I don't feel well. Can we stop and get some like fresh air? I'm like, we're gonna have to drive out of the state for that. Like there was no fresh air to be found.
Yeah.
I've had some experience. Oh, and on the Jersey Shore, I've had some experiences as well.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, in conclusion, like you're all right, Jersey. We don't hate you, but you're
fine.
You're fun to make.
You're better than a lot of states. Let's say that.
Yeah. That's very true.
Better than a lot of states.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, wait. Yeah. So I guess we still don't know what they would hold. It's probably why they don't hold anything.
Yeah, I guess Bravo feels the same way as us.
Yeah. We should ask Andy. What should they hold?
We'll add that to our list of questions for Andy. Yeah. One day we eventually talk to Andy. We'll add it. But yeah, then I mean that's kind of where the episode ends is Tracy coming for Teresa, and I don't know. Tracy can go for me. I don't ever need to see her and her crazy ass makeup ever again on my screen. I just can't. Don't know why we are subjected to her. Don't know why they thought that she was a good fit on the show. Don't know why we have to see Tiki Barber, period. Just over it. I don't need them. Yeah,
I wonder if it's because she she doesn't have the history with them, that it's like, okay, let's try someone new coming for Teresa versus one of the same people who have before and have failed, or just no. Because like, again, as a new viewer to New Jersey, it feels like at least 3 to 4 times an episode it said Teresa's gonna flip out. Like Teresa, this happens, Teresa's gonna flip out. So like they all seem afraid of her, or at least don't want to deal with the repercussions of making her mad. And maybe Tracy just doesn't know better yet. And so it's like, okay, we need someone who's going to push the buttons so that we can get the angry Teresa that brings in the gifts, that brings in the gossip on the sites because she's flipping tables and shit. Otherwise, everyone else kind of seems to like they know the lines with her, it seems.
Right. They do. And I think they know, like, you can't poke the bear, right? And Jackie used to kind of play this role. So Jackie's only been around for 3 or 4 seasons. I don't remember if this is her third or fourth. This might be her fourth season. Same amount of time as Jen. So they're like relatively newer than Melissa. Melissa's been around since season 3. Newer than Dolores. She's been around for a couple more seasons than them. So like Jackie really started going at it with Teresa from the beginning. They never had a good relationship. And she was kind of like the new blood that sacrificed herself a little bit. And, you know, Margaret really tried to like kowtow to Teresa and really like make sure that she was in her good graces. And now obviously she is backing off of that a little bit and kind of going for her. Cause I think she sees that that is going to make her, I think Margaret really wants to be like the matriarch of the show and sees herself as a way to kind of get there. But something that I do want to mention too about the violence a little bit, Margaret has historically been very violent on the show. Not very, but like she has also participated in violence. So the hypocrisy of Margaret, especially to call Jen a hypocrite for the cheating stuff, she has dumped water in a public place on Danielle Staub's head a few seasons ago, which you'll see when you watch it. She was the aggressor in that situation. She walked forward. She dumped a full bottle of water in her head. Danielle then went and pulled her hair, which I'll let you watch it. I won't tell you what happens there. But, you know, she was the aggressor there. She pushed Danielle's husband in a pool, a grown man in a pool, could have been the shallow end, could have gotten hurt. So like she has also participated in some like physical situations and she's been the aggressor in them. So it's very hypocritical for her to take Melissa's side when Jen was just defending herself, because Margaret has done more than that in the past and expected people to be on her side and didn't feel like she did anything wrong. So it's just interesting to me that where these women kind of like shake out here.
Yeah. And it's like new season, new lines.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Jersey's very interesting. I'm curious to see where we're going to go with this. What I don't love is when housewives like very clearly hate each other, because it makes it hard to film and like see them all together. And I do feel like the housewives are at their best when they're all in a group situation. So I kind of hope they at least get to a point where they're able to film together where it's not uncomfortable.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. That's hopefully we get to that. Yeah. I appreciate what New Jersey is putting on my television. That is for sure. Especially in comparison to the next show we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Which is Orange County.
Yep.
Now, if you're watching us live and you need to go to the bathroom, take out your dog, I don't know.
Now's a good time.
Pizza rolls, whatever it may be. Like, dude, there's a place around the corner from me that does pizza puffs. And when I get mad at work and need to eat my feelings, that's where I go to.
Sounds
so
amazing.
Good. It's like a deluxe Hot Pocket. Anyway, I told my roommate, he's like, I haven't had one in years. I was like, I'll get you one on the way home from work next week because that means I get one too.
Yes, amazing. Such a good roommate.
We do ride for each other very
Love
much
that.
so. So we are going to talk about. Sorry, Twitter just caught me off guard. Why does it say that Real Housewives of New York is trending in entertainment? The hashtag. Oh, is it because of Bethany? No, it just seems like it's trending for no reason. Sorry, you are catching live.
I am seeing that.
I don't know. I mean, the first thing was about be strong and the work she's doing for Ukraine, which I support. So
yes, I do support that from Bethany, even though she's not my favorite. Yeah. What she does good.
Just very it was very surprising since it's like not even filming right now. Okay, but let's take the time to talk about Orange County for literally like if we go longer than 10 minutes, we've been doing something wrong.
I'd be surprised.
Yeah. Okay. In my opinion, I think there was 2 major things to talk about from this episode. And one of them was the baptism of Emily's daughter. How old was she? Is she like anywhere between the ages of like 8 and 12, and I'll believe it.
Yeah, that's fair. In that range.
Somewhere in that range. So it's not
somewhere in that demo.
When you bring your little like newborn infant to like be dunked in water or whatever. Listen, as an atheist but confirmed Catholic, like I know enough to just nod along and can say in Our Father. Know what I mean? So like whatever the fuck happens in those things, it's not that because they have like a grown-ass kid who needs to be baptized into the Mormon religion, which I do think is interesting when you compare it to like Heather escaping it. You've got Emily like introducing
and kind of embracing it a little bit.
Yeah.
Even though she doesn't practice, only Shane does.
Right. But just to be I mean, Emily's not dumb. She's actually probably like one of the smarter housewives, like straight up. If we were to pick like a Jeopardy team, I would probably draft Emily relatively high, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we'll do one time. Anyway, so
we should
just
do
have
that.
an idea. Like, who would you pick for Family
I'm
Feud?
thinking.
Who would you draft?
I'm thinking about it.
Could you imagine instead of like the college tournament, they have like the Real Housewives tournament?
That would be truly the best TV. But they need to do this. Another thing, we need to suggest this to Andy. Get the Housewives and some game shows on Bravo. That would be incredible television.
The newest Bailey Bowl is just actually a trivia competition.
Bailey Bowl.
So Emily is is supporting this, and I would love to see her and Heather have a conversation, because I also think that Heather's experiences are worthwhile, and just seeing the difference. And maybe there's a complete difference of like not living in Salt Lake City and being Mormon than like being surrounded by all of the Mormons in Salt Lake City. But that did make me think of it. However, the bigger point that I want to bring up here is I feel like it was nice to get some positive relationships relationship, I should say, marriage more specifically being shown, because we saw Emily and Shane go through their shit. I would have guessed within the last couple of seasons that like if you told me they were getting divorced, I'd be like, makes sense.
Yeah.
Because Shane also doesn't seem like the easiest guy to like change his mind or talk about his feelings. And somehow Emily and Shane have, at least for the camera, and I'm assuming it's in person because it does seem like the camera only exacerbates issues. It does not hide them well. That they have genuinely like repaired their relationship and seem better than ever.
Yeah, they really do. And we heard Emily talk about it. I guess they weren't on last week, but the episode before, where Jen kind of was like, Ryan moved out. And, Emily gave really good advice, like genuinely seemed like she was being a good friend to her and gave advice and was like, we were almost done with each other and we really had to come together and say like, this is a priority for us and we want to work on it. And it really feels like they did. And I love that for her, because they really did. I mean, we hated, I don't know about we, but like you and I, but like we, the collective Housewives fandom, hated Shane. He was like on the top of the list of the worst house husbands, and he's gotten so much better over the last few seasons. Some of it might be due to editing, but it does feel like their relationship has come a long way. So I'm happy to see that.
Yeah, that was really what I wanted to take away from that baptism. I know we also see Emily saying that like she wishes that she had a dad like her kids have in Shane, and she gets sad about that, which is understandable. But I just really appreciate that we have gotten to see what is the opposite of what we see in most housewives relationships, that like once shit hits the fan, it usually stays hitting the fan. And these two managed to like repair their relationship while staying in the public eye. And I just appreciate that. And I'm happy for Emily and Shane. I wanted to bring some good news to the Cool Water Show.
Yeah. They beat the odds. They beat the odds for sure. So good for them.
Well, now that we've talked about a good relationship, let's talk about one that is falling apart at the seams.
Oh, my Lord.
We have Heather's dinner party. Now, first of all, if someone invites me, the last time I went to my friend's house for dinner, which was a couple weeks ago, I wore jeans and a sweatshirt. And the only reason I wore jeans is because it was the same jeans and sweatshirt I wore to work that day. Otherwise, I would have shown up in sweatpants. And my friends even said, yo, why are you wearing jeans? Bro, I came like straight from work. That's why.
Yeah.
I was wearing like a Taylor Swift sweatshirt. So it wasn't like anything fancy. It literally said Taylor's version. So like these people are dressed in the fanciest shit I've ever seen.
It's like black tie.
Like Heather's dress, first of all, I liked her look. But like suits, dresses, fancy shit. Just to go to someone's house. Like you aren't even going out in public.
Yeah, it's wild.
Those are not my types of friends. If I can't show up, like if you can't accept me at my Taylor Swift sweatshirt and sweatpants and maybe probably not wearing a bra, then you don't get me at my black dress.
Right. Exactly.
That was the first takeaway that I had.
Yeah.
However, there is one person who didn't really follow the guide.
Didn't get the memo.
Bro, I laughed out loud when they panned
to his socks,
the Nike socks, and
this
the dress
man,
shoes.
this man. And I feel bad because I'm actually completely 100% on Ryan's side here. Ryan, whatever this man's name is. In the whole episode, I'm on his side.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does kind of flip
between the way she says his name, so it's hard for us to pick one.
Right. Like, I don't know what this man. But when they pan down to his loafers and you saw Nike socks sticking out of the top, like, sir, there's no way you didn't notice this when you left the house. This was just you saying, I don't give a fuck that you could see this Nike swoosh on my feet above my fucking dress loafers. Like, what? And then Jen said this is what he looked like at our wedding. What?
It was this moment exactly was the exact moment that I knew that this is going to 100% end in divorce. These two are not meant for each other.
They are not.
When they panned down to those shoes with the Nike socks, I was
and he had like a polo shirt
opposites.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which he did try to keep clean by tucking the napkin into his shirt.
Yeah, I'm not mad about that. I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it. Let the man live. Stop making fun of this poor guy. He's obviously out of his element. He's very uncomfortable. He didn't say 2 words. His wife is fucking hammered, stumbling over herself. She's a mess. Let the man put a napkin in his shirt. Leave him alone.
I mean, anytime I'm given a lobster bib, I wear that until like I go to bed that night.
Who wants to drip food on their clothes? Yeah,
I respect him. I respect the drip because he's protecting himself from the drip of food, not the drip of his outfit. But
exactly.
The defense of the drip.
Yeah, same.
So another Ryan thing that just kind of, made me chuckle was when he goes, well, why couldn't the dog have come?
Well, the relationship with this dog is very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, it's like I feel like he makes out with his dog.
Oh, maybe.
Like he lets the dog kiss him inside of his mouth.
I mean, the dog is where he gets the only affection and love.
Right.
In his life, maybe from his kids, but definitely the only place where he gets affection and love. It's
uncomfortable.
And as someone who loves my dog very much.
I love my pets. I love them. Would do anything for them.
Yes.
Won't let them. I don't need to bring them to dinner. The dinner party.
I mean, depending on the dinner party, but it's that's not the dinner party.
No, not that. No,
not at all.
No. So Heather's friends. What did you think about Heather's friends? It was so bizarre. Heather invited these like weird couples over because she's like, oh, they've been married for a long time.
They're role models for marriage.
Yeah, but it's like, what? What are they like? It's so bizarre. And they were like asking all these questions about relationships and just, I really did feel bad for Ryan in that moment where he's just like sitting there awkwardly.
Well, especially because his wife is fucking trashed.
I wonder how many drinks she actually had when she was like asking for the wine. And then when they did that supercut of her being like, this is really good wine. This wine is really good. This wine is like really good. I was like, like, this makes me want to crawl out of my skin. I have the worst secondhand embarrassment for both of these people. Like, this is horrible. This is horrible.
I mean, she's also someone who works out every day because of her leg thing. Does she, as a plastic surgeon, do you think she has the healthiest relationship with food? I'm not going to go out and assume, but like at the same time, I could see her having like one meal that day and then showing up and throwing back a couple of glasses of Champs and then the really, 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 really good wine. And she's fucking blitzed.
What did they show her? Having at least like 4 or 5 glasses of champagne, and that champagne knocks you off your ass. If you really drink it, those bubbles really get to you. Like champagne can get you drunk.
Yes.
And I can't imagine Heather was serving like a hearty meal. Probably like a very light fish or something, or like a chicken, nothing hearty that would soak up that. And those onion rings.
Yes.
Yeah, for Terry, because Terry that's his personality, is onion rings.
We do know that what was supposed to be served first is the amuse-bouche.
Amuse-bouche. This is the shit I hate about Heather. Like, this just made me want to punch her in her face across my television. Everybody knows that the amuse-bouche is supposed to be served before those. It's just, oh God.
I tried 4 different ways to spell amuse
I have no
bouche.
idea
And
how to
the
spell it.
only reason that it got figured out was because I like stumbled my way into realizing it's amuse, like to amuse someone, entertain them. And then it realized.
Is it bouche like douche?
Yes.
Okay.
So I had like BOO. I was like very phonetically spelling
BOOSH.
Yes. And so when I finally figured out the first word, because I was not phonetically spelling it, it then Google was like, oh, this is what you're trying to stumble into, you peasant. You clearly don't know shit about these things.
Yeah. Amuse bouche is not in my world.
I'd never heard of it until I've
had an appetizer.
Me too.
Never an amuse bouche.
That's like
yeah, sure. I've had an hors d'oeuvre.
Don't ask me to spell that though either. No, I know there's a fucking apostrophe in there somewhere.
At least one, maybe two, maybe a hyphen. I have no idea.
I don't know what letter it was replacing because I know an apostrophe replaces a letter unless we're showing possession, but I don't know which one. I don't know which one.
No clue.
But it is French and it's supposed to please the mouth. But
yeah, I just looked it up. A single bite-sized hors d'oeuvre. Oh, D''OEUVRE. Never. I would fail a spelling bee in a second. Different from appetizers in that they're not ordered from a menu by patrons. Let me click into this Wikipedia. But are served free and according to the chef's selection alone. These are served both to prepare the guests for the meal and to offer a glimpse of the chef's style.
Oh, I mean, I just don't go to nice enough places to experience this.
Nor do I.
One day when this cool water show takes off and we're just swimming in money from it.
We're the number one Housewives podcast.
Boosh the hell out of our appetizer hors d'oeuvres. Well, that's all we're going to eat. Chef, give me 30. I don't got to pay for them, right?
That's all I want.
Just said. I just want
Give me a whole meal of amuse bouches.
Amuse bouche all in and around my mouth, please. Because I heard it.
Bouche me, bitch. Yeah.
Oh, to the two of you watching us, I hope you find it as funny as we find ourselves.
I know, right? Really are amusing ourselves here.
Yeah. You're along for the ride, so either you're welcome or sorry, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. It's a Saturday night. We're letting loose here.
Yeah. I will say, while we're talking about Housewives and food, the main reason I wanted to try tuna tartare was because they're always ordering it.
I love tuna tartare. That is one thing that I have had multiple times in my life, and it's delicious. If you're a tuna fan, it's great.
I've now had it multiple times, and I continue to order it because
love it.
Actually, the first place I had it was this really nice steakhouse in New York City.
Yeah,
it was so good. But anyway, back to this travesty of a dinner. Even more of a travesty is the marriage we're seeing falling apart. Which I just don't know how it came together in the first place.
Neither do they.
Yeah, that's the exact mystery.
Clearly, they don't either. Yeah.
So I do kind of respect Heather really pushing for Ryan to talk, because the question was like, okay, so like, how did the two of you meet? And then how did the two of you get engaged? Like, what was the story of it? Yeah. And Dr. Jen, again, Schwasted is like, I got a job with Harvard. No man was going to stop me from that. So
except for this man, because it seems like
she didn't go.
She's in the OC.
That's true. But I mean, it couldn't have been like recently.
Yeah, who knows?
They did have their kids before marriage. They did say that.
Yes.
So
and their kids are youngish. So
yeah, they're like 9, right?
Oh, maybe.
When they were at the nail place being fed lines from the producers.
Right. I forgot. Yeah, I forgot about
that. So Dr. Jen gives this story, right? And then Heather goes, well, what's your version of it, Ryan?
And he's so weird. Let's just go with hers.
Yeah, we'll just go with hers. He doesn't even try to oppose it. But at the same time, Dr. Jen kept trying to like chime in. And Heather, standing her ground like Heather usually does, was like, no, let me hear from him. She like mommed her a bit.
Right.
Which I did respect in the moment, because I also wanted to hear from Ryan. Tell me, Ryan, I'm interested in your version of this.
Yeah. Especially now that like I'm a little on Ryan's side. So I want to hear, like, I never was on Jen's side because I just don't care about these people. I think I've said many times, like, I'm not invested in this. This got me invested for Ryan. Like, I'm on Ryan's side now because Jen is just a disaster. She holds it together pretty well, but in this episode, she really did not keep it together. So I would have liked to have heard more from him, because I feel like he would have gotten us to have his back a little bit if he spoke more.
And I don't know, that this whole thing just let me know that the divorce is imminent. It should have happened. And I mean, the marriage should have never happened, but
never.
Based off the socks and shoes alone. However, and I'm not dissing the socks and shoes. It's just him in his combination of socks and shoes does not match what a Dr. Jen does, you know, like
right.
Her showing up in her like bodycon dress for this dinner party. They are not compatible. You can just tell in that alone.
They're two very, very different people.
She wants this lush, lavish lifestyle, and he just wants to be like mostly naked on a beach with his dog surfing.
Yeah. Which, like, dude, I appreciate your aspirations for a very chill lifestyle. I would also like a chill lifestyle. Maybe not on my, nude on a beach with my dog, but like I would like to be more chill. I get it.
He can't have that with Dr. Jen, and this just insane for Ryan's like own sanity. However, on the way home, she was like, "You did great, sweetie." Like, can you just? It was so uncomfortable, and she's like, "Can you just like hold me in your arms?
I just want to collapse in your arms.
Can you just do that?" And he does like, when the awkward hug you get, and you just give like the pats on the back, like
he like he did not want to be
on the hips, and he's over it. But get out of there, Ryan. Just get out.
He's got to save himself from this. I did read that their house is up for sale, so could mean that their relationship is not long. Yeah.
One other thing before we move on. Why did everyone act like they've never heard the word fuck before? I say this as someone who's said the word fuck at least 15 times on this podcast already.
Right.
That was
the
least offensive thing of what was going on. In terms of like having to watch that relationship in front of you, that's far more offensive than the word fuck. And stop acting like you haven't heard it before. Because probably behind closed doors, you all are fucking each other's husbands and wives. Like, you are all swinging the shit out of this. You are all doing some stuff that gets frowned upon in normal society. And you're like,
who knows what goes on in the OC,
Fuck? Did she just say fuck?
Right. I know.
Oh,
I know.
That angered me.
Yeah. Yeah. The only other thing that I want to say about OC that we didn't touch on, aside from this disaster dinner, is why does Shannon live rent-free in Gina's head? Why? It does not make sense to me. Obviously, it's something that like took place off camera or something, but she is obsessed with hating Shannon. And it feels like Shannon is like, I don't know why this girl hates me.
I hope we find out. Enjoy the like Shannon John dinner where they gossiped. That seemed very forced.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
And I feel like anything that ends up at that table where Shannon
was there at the Quiet Woman again at that table?
Yes.
Okay, we gotta move along. We gotta move along. I highly request no more. This isn't my plate, you fucking bitch. Table. I'm done with it. We need to move on.
It just seems like anything that happens there is so premeditated at this point. It's like, we get it. This thing has some history to it. Cool. Yeah. Go somewhere else. Isn't there a Nobu? Like, come on.
Yeah, hello. Doesn't Heather throw out $36,000 worth of food from Nobu? There's a Nobu close by.
Yes.
Let's up our standards a little bit here.
But otherwise, I mean, it was a little refreshing to not have a lot of Noella this episode.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God.
But I did see a lot of Noella's vagina in a picture on fucking Reddit. Like, not her
her actual vagina?
No, well, okay. Like, when I say that I've never seen a camel toe as intense as the one I saw on her in this picture, I'm not exaggerating in the slightest. If you were to look up camel toe in the dictionary, this picture should be there to explain what it is.
I have missed this.
Oh, I'm not going to go and try and find it. I think I saw it on Reddit. I've been spending a lot of time on Reddit just reading. That's how I've been passing time lately. And it was something where I like looked at, I'm like, what? And then I like clicked on, I'm like, whoa, this is not a joke. Like,
oh my Lord.
So
I'm gonna obviously my morbid curiosity is gonna get the best of me. I'm gonna have to find this
but
picture.
I think if anything, like I want you to see it so you can see them not being dramatic, and it is
No, I believe you.
truly the most defined camel toe I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
I don't know, like, does she not have a mirror or at least a friend to be like, girl, we're seeing a lot.
Yeah.
All right, well, speaking of places where they do not support seeing vaginas, that would be Jen Shaw in Salt Lake City. So,
yep.
Brooks doesn't want to see that.
Great segue. Love it.
Not planned. Thank you.
Love it.
That was off the dome piece. So, we are in episode 1 of 3 of a reunion. And I mean, the first almost like 5-ish minutes is Andy like going around. It's like we're getting like pre-reunion.
Yeah.
Insight.
Which I typically like it. This felt like it was a little long to me. But typically I kind of like that.
Yes. And the main thing I took was him telling Jen Shaw, like, by the way, there's rumors we gave Erica a heads up on her questions. We absolutely didn't, and we're not going to give you a heads up. And she was like, okay, that's fine.
I wonder if she asked, like, that was interesting to me. Like, I wonder if her people asked for a heads up and like, that's why he had to address it. But he like, the fact that they put it on camera makes me feel like I never heard those rumors. So I don't know. Thought that was interesting.
Me neither. But that was the main like pre-show stuff that I took away from it. Besides when, I mean, I know we'd seen pictures of this, but to see all 6 of them sitting on the couches, what they were wearing, I am not a big fashion person. I live in crew necks and sweatpants. Like I'm not going to throw a lot of stones, but if you're going to hand me rocks,
I mean, you have eyes.
I got to throw them. And quite frankly, you all gave me a bag of rocks with this one. First of all, it was hilarious when they're like, Jen, you have to take off those gloves.
She literally, I feel like she can't see. I've seen a lot of memes going on of like point of view from the reunion. It's just like feathers and Jen's face. But I mean, I will say for the pictures that we saw on the internet, they looked better sitting because you could see less of their outfits. Like Meredith's was less offensive, slightly less offensive, slightly.
There was one part of the reunion when it was like focusing on Jenny that I legit thought that she only had one arm. I'm like, did she lose an arm? Because of the way that the sleeve, when you watch the next episode, the way that the sleeve fell and the way she's like her arm was sitting, you couldn't see her hand. So it just looked like, you know, when you do the whole, like, let me take my sleeve and it's just like flopping sleeve. Like, this is what I thought was going on. Like, did Jenny lose an arm to racism? There is a chance. So that was also just one part of the fashion thing. I'm like, girl, that is a crazy look. But yeah.
They also all looked really uncomfortable. Like, no one looked like they were sitting. Often the women look uncomfortable, but they almost felt like they like couldn't even fit. Like Jen was like almost facing away from Andy and then like looking over her shoulder to talk to him. It was like she was facing Heather and Whitney almost. Yeah. It was just weird. It was like a weird setup. Also like that water in the middle kind of threw me off. Like yeah, but like do we need the fishing poles? Because the fishing every time they like look at Meredith, there's like a fishing pole in the shot and it's just very straight. The set was like really weird.
They could have angled the fishing poles lower. They didn't have
the whole set. I didn't love the set.
I agree. The first major thing they talk about is Mary didn't show up. And we've known that Mary isn't going to show up based off of like them filming the reunion however many weeks ago or whatever. And Andy said that he talked to her. And the main reason she didn't show up was because people were talking about behind her back about her church, which, by the way, they were talking in public, like, to your face.
I mean, they kind of said it to her face.
It's just that, like, every time it got brought up, you made a comment like you don't have a husband or you only eat Taco Bell and somehow deflected. She did not appreciate Whitney calling her a predator.
But fair.
I did think Whitney had a point though, and she was like, every time I try to talk to her, she wouldn't give me the fucking time of day. So what do you want me to do about it?
Love, though. I mean, about Mary. I love it. That was my favorite thing about Mary is how she just had no time for Whitney.
And then Heather said that she did appreciate Mary being real and her nuggets of wisdom in the confessionals, which is really where we get our first hint that, oh, this hour is just going to be us shitting on Lisa.
I Cannot take. I feel, I know I've been very vocal about how Whitney's stock has completely dropped for
Mm-hmm.
me. Heather is at the same level with me now. And I really liked Heather. She was one of my
Mm-hmm.
favorites. I always thought that, out of all the housewives that exist, Heather's up there in the top tier. And I feel like she's someone who I could see myself being friends with in real life. Like, I feel like she's very relatable.
Mm-hmm.
This reunion, even just the first episode of this reunion, dropped her stock completely to the bottom. And this is where it started. And you're right. This is where I was like, oh, this is going to be what this is. And
Mm-hmm.
it was a little ugh to me.
That your opinion was a common opinion that I saw on Reddit
Yeah.
was like, oh, I forgot because she had such a good season, just how much I hated her during the last reunion.
Yeah,
So
she was very mean in the last reunion and she's mean again.
it does feel like she comes with she's carrying a knife and
Yeah.
and that she doesn't carry throughout the season, which is
Mm-hmm.
just interesting. I definitely agree. And I wonder why she takes that approach.
I don't know. I think she's like trying to make a moment and it's just like, no one wants this.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So yeah, it starts the Lisa Barlow is the worst human on the planet tour.
Well, it was funny because she said, Mary gave a lot of insight in her confessionals and she was like, she called Whitney a whore.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, did she call you a whore? Like, it's just like she just wanted to make a point to like dig at Lisa that she didn't even couldn't even back up what she was saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she just wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only motive. I 100%
Mm-hmm.
agree. We transition a bit to Jen, and they
Yep.
talk about Jen's upcoming court case, which is on March 22nd.
I think it got moved.
When?
I think it got moved to June or something.
Fuck!
I
Dude,
know,
was
which
so
totally screws up their
excited.
filming schedule.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
they rushed this season to film. Let me confirm that, but I'm pretty sure that it got moved.
I got so excited because I didn't tell you this yet, and I guess I can mention on here, but I got the job that I interviewed for.
Yay! Oh my God, I was going to ask you when we were done.
And so it looks like my last day teaching would be the 18th. And
oh my God,
I
so
would
exciting.
have that week off in between. And when they said March 22nd, I'm like, I can sit home and watch Jen and Shaw's trial the whole week.
Well, hopefully I'm wrong. I hope that I'm wrong.
Shit. So I was like super excited when they said March 22nd. I'm like, that lines up perfectly for me. Absolutely perfectly. But I'm not surprised it got moved. Like between COVID and just the courts being the courts and like
I'm looking now. Stuart Smith got sentenced.
Uh-oh. And he was like he became an informant essentially.
He did. Okay, let's see. Motion to quash. It looks like they're filing a motion to push it. We'll see.
So
July 11th. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. I was really excited to be watching court for the week that I was home, but guess I'll have to find something else to fill my time. So
yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's all right. I'll be okay. I mean, Jen Shah might not be, but I'll be okay.
She may not. Yeah, very well may not be.
They also, so they bring that up. They talk about it a little bit, not a lot. She doesn't really get like interrogated too much. Do we think that there's more interrogation coming? Because I feel like Erica definitely caught far more intense questions about it.
I think it'll come in this probably second or third reunion. Yeah,
that makes sense because I think it's something that they think people will like stick around for. You can't give all.
And they do show Sharif there with her, and he was like, "Did you know where the money was coming from?" So it seems like maybe they're questioning both of them. So I think we'll get more. I definitely think we'll get more.
Yeah, and then they talk about Jen and her apology tour, which she did have to apologize to a lot of people. However, I feel like they don't show the like other half of these apologies when she's like, well, you did this to me. So I did feel like she got a bit of a nicer edit in some of
she
apology tour than maybe she deserved. As I felt that she definitely, and I've said this many times, portrays herself as a victim.
Yes, she does. She does.
In everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I took away two very important things, I think, from this part, though. One, Lisa has changed her approach, at least for the time being. She's not yelling at everyone. Like,
No.
remember how Meredith was like, you've been yelling for 30 minutes. Like, what do you want me to do? Which she wasn't wrong about that. Mm-hmm. Lisa's not yelling.
No, she's not.
And I wonder if that is purposeful. It has to be, because all season she yelled. Like, anytime anyone was talking shit about her, she would just yell louder.
Yeah, I think she probably knew what she was about to walk into, because they did just see those episodes like the day before, and just took the approach of like, they're going to pile on me. I already know what's expected. So she's kind of just like, okay, whatever, like over it at that point. Like, what's the point of yelling when all 5 of them are going to be coming at her? Well, maybe not Jenny, but she's like a non-factor.
And then one of the funniest insults I've ever encountered in Real Housewives is the Lego figurine thing.
Okay, yeah, I want to talk about this, because first of all, they did talk about how Jen called Heather Shrek, and Heather's like, whatever, she was mad at me and blah blah, and she like totally explained it away, and she's like, well, I was just saying because you were acting like an ogre, which obviously that's not what she fucking meant, Jen Shaw. That's not what you meant, and we know it. Maybe Heather's gonna buy your bag of bullshit, but I'm not buying that bag of bullshit. And then the Lego thing, first of all, not nice, but very funny.
Oh, and so fucking funny.
Especially who said it? Because it looked like in that screenshot, it looked like the name at the top said Angie.
It did.
So Angie, and the text was gray. So if Lisa was saying it, it would have been blue.
So I think it was Angie that sent it. So my guess is either Angie's fucking funny and took a picture.
I don't want to give Angie that credit. Yeah.
And took a picture and was like, yo, this looks like Heather. And then Lisa goes, oh, it's a cast reveal.
Right.
Or they had some sort of comment before that she looks like a Lego figurine.
Right.
And Angie happened to see like the building size one. And then it was a continuation. So I don't know if she necessarily called her a Lego figurine, but she did say it's a cast reveal, which then implied it. Which I also thought that comment, the cast reveal part, also hilarious.
It's kind of funny. Yeah, it's funny. I don't support body shaming. I think Heather's beautiful, but the comment itself is it's a funny comment. Clever. Yes. It's just clever, but it's not nice. It's not nice. I mean, don't condone it. I
guess, I mean, not that it's not body shaming, but it's not like she was calling Heather fat or anything in it. For me, what I think of with a Lego is like you have the rectangle.
It's like very boxy.
And a skinny person can look like that as well.
Of course, yeah. A skinny person can look like a Lego.
So I just thought it was hilarious. Like, that's a quality joke right there. Whoever
it's a good joke.
Yeah. Great joke even. So that was my important part, was just the Lego. Like, if you said, Kari, create a bingo board for things that you think will be said.
It would never. That would never be on it.
Episodes of the Salt Lake City reunion, Lego figurine not making the cut.
No, for sure. I was surprised, and I enjoyed it. It's like, that's the kind of thing that I come here for, is just this ridiculousness of this show. And I'm glad that we got the Lego figurine. What I'm not glad that we got is the Angie of it all. Like, I don't care about Angie, and she gives me like the thirsty Whitney and Heather vibes that like they have. And obviously, like, they're hanging out with her, and like it seems like they're plotting against Lisa altogether. And it just really seems transparent to me that that's what they're doing. And I don't like that. And if Angie's not going to be there, then I don't need to talk about Angie. Like, I don't care.
I forgot that whole catering thing happened.
Same.
When they started talking about it, I was like, oh shit, that seems like it was literally 3 to 4 years ago.
Because the season has lasted forever with all the breaks.
Though, it has, because I remember when we were talking about starting the podcast, I was like, I just started this either season 1 or season 2 of Salt Lake. So like, I will, once I catch up with that, I feel confident in like being able to talk about stuff. And I mean, I'm like 9 seasons into Atlanta. So it just seems like I did all that. And bro, it's been a long season. I mean, but in the moment of it, it didn't seem long. But then when you get a flashback to something that they aired in, I don't know, like October, could have been. It's just like, whoa, this was drama, but didn't Jen get arrested? Like, why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about this?
I know. I did kind of like the peek behind the curtain of it all, where like Angie got the first event of the season, and Lisa kind of was like, no, I didn't care because no one was getting along. So like it didn't matter to me that she got the first event of the season, which I was
Yeah.
like, interesting. Like it seems like that's something that like the Housewives really want, the first event and the last event of the season.
Speaking of events, okay, maybe it's more about their trips. I've thought about this for a while. This is not related to anything that's come up in this, but it did make me think of it. Why do all of the housewives, and I mean every single one of them, care so much about having a bathtub in their hotels when they travel?
I don't know. It's bizarre.
It's
I guess that
crazy.
like I
It's a
guess it's
running
like
theme.
a luxurious thing to have a bathtub in your hotel.
Are you taking baths on
I
your?
guess they are. I don't know.
I've never
I
taken a
guess they
bath
are.
on vacation. Maybe because I've never had like nice baths to do that. But
Yeah, I don't ever really recall
anyway,
having a
that's what it just
bathtub in
made
my
me
hotel.
think of. I've definitely had that thought quite a few times.
Yeah,
Um, like why does the bathtub matter so much about what room you have? Like
right,
it does seem to be a determining factor for some of them. But
right.
anyway, sorry, that's where my brain went with it. Yeah, I did like the behind the scenes, like the first and last event.
Hmm.
In terms of who gets it. And I guess it is kind of weird that they gave it to someone who isn't even a housewife,
Right.
but
Yeah,
whatever.
I don't know. Bizarre.
So after we get Meredith breaking down, and
Yeah, what did you think about that? Because we didn't really talk about that.
yeah, I feel for her
Yeah, I think
because
she was going through a lot for
yes,
sure.
uh, as I mean, I guess it kind of like resonated a bit. I mean, given I've experienced some things this year that I like have never
Hmm.
had to experience, have been pretty
Yep.
intense, and so I mean, especially like the month or two after it happened, I was look at me the wrong way, and there's a chance I had to go hide in the handicap stall and cry for a minute.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like I've also experienced things where it's recently where it's just been like I need to take a day, or like I
Yeah.
can't even do this because if this gets brought up, I cannot guarantee I'm not going to revert back to like 16 23-year-old Kari, and then my goal is going to be to make you cry.
Yeah,
So like
totally.
I understood where Meredith was coming from and the shit that was going down of like, oh, your responses, we didn't know the behind the scenes on all of what you were personally experienced that could then amplify your responses to things.
Yeah.
Was she entirely right about stuff in terms of it? Like, no, but I at least feel like I understand it more.
Yeah. And it's things that she couldn't talk about on camera. So
Yeah.
like her amplified reactions didn't make sense to us at the time, but now that we have like this background,
Mm-hmm.
it feels like it makes a little bit more sense.
The most surprising part was when she goes, I actually did feel that Jen was kind to me this season when
Yeah.
I went back and watched it, which I do think that that's being said for one of two reasons, though, is either she does genuinely feel that, like, with everything that Jen had going on, and she was able to maybe take a step back and reflect of like, oh, I had all this shit going on and look at how I was lashing out and or how I was reacting to people, where Jen was still able to show up and do these things and be a part of it while she's in the middle of a criminal case.
Hmm.
Um, or, which I think is actually more likely, is the second
Yeah.
one, is that like it was to just push Lisa further down.
I think so too. I think so too. Like even Jen was kind to me, kinder than my best friend.
Right. So Lisa made a comment though that she was like, I have to be perfect all the time. Like the bar is so much higher for me. And I don't know if that's true, but I do
I
think
disagree with it. It seems like they do hold Lisa to a totally different standard than they hold everybody. I mean, specifically Jen.
mhm.
Jen gets away with anything that she wants.
So
Same kind of with Mary. Like, yeah, they
yes.
do hold Mary's feet to the fire, but like it kind of goes away after a while, you know, like they don't continuously harp on it. And Lisa, I feel like they do not let things die.
And that's where I felt like it wasn't true as much as it was like, no, you don't you have the least amount of bite out of
Yeah.
everyone in terms
Hmm.
of who gets criticized the most, I guess. Like you can tell that, for example, they don't go after Meredith as much. Like the reason that they kind of like didn't go after Mary was because their respect for Meredith. Like there is
Right.
a disconnect in the respect that
Right.
people have for Lisa, and it must be the way that she treats them. So I don't know if
Hmm.
it's as much like she needs to be perfect as it is she just doesn't see that like if she were to gain more respect from people, that it might not be this bad. And I think, like, how does she not see that after what went down when they were in Zion, when Heather was like, oh, I am like kind of taking a step back and seeing like you are kind of getting the short end of the stick in the Meredith friendship. And she did stand up for her. Like, if she had more moments like that I think were more genuine, I think it could be a little bit easier for her. But she also, like, Jen Shah will fucking destroy your life. Mary clearly doesn't give a fuck who you are. She will, like, she will come for your lack of husbands. She will come for whatever. Where Lisa just gets loud and always kind of, like, I feel like her defense is comments like this. Oh, I always have to be perfect. Lisa Barlow is a great friend. And if you don't think, you know what I mean? Like, it's never, I don't think she's ever really, like, cut anyone except for the rant that she went on, which was behind closed doors. I think if she maybe came out and cut a bitch once or twice, like, they might back off. I think
she did a little with Mary when she was like, your church is fake, your marriage is fake, or whatever. I think that was like the beginning of it. But other than that, I think you're right.
She's just the easiest to go after.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I mean, she did take a whole bunch of beatings on this, and it didn't help with the timing because it was literally like, hey, 14 hours beforehand, we're going to show you this tirade she went on that we like made 3 episodes of content out of.
Yeah. And I will say, I give her a lot of credit for not telling Heather to shut the fuck up, because every time she said something, Heather would jump in and interrupt her and talk over her. And it's like, Heather, shut up. No one is talking to you. No one wants to hear from you. Let us hear what Lisa has to say and shut up. Just shut up. It's not about you. This isn't the Heather Gay show. Shut up. People aren't tuning in for you, Heather. They're tuning in to see Lisa and Meredith go at it. That's the reason why people are watching. And for Jen Shah, you're a non-factor here.
Right. Like, her biggest storyline this season was the leaving the Mormon church stuff. And the effect on
which
her
like
family.
We saw last season kind of already. So like,
that doesn't really, unless Andy's having like a one-on-one conversation with her about it, the rest is drama that is resulting from Lisa, Mary, Meredith, and Jen's court case, obviously. Do you think this came up? Do you think that Lisa controls Jenny, or like, how do you view that dynamic or relationship?
I don't think so, but I do think Jenny had like a natural allegiance to Lisa, but it's not like we saw Jenny like having Lisa's back the whole time. The only time we saw anything from Jenny is when she was coming for Mary, which was like adjacent to Lisa, but not really connected. Like, Lisa came for Mary later. Jenny had an issue with Mary from the start. Like, I didn't really see anything with Jenny that made it seem like she was doing any of Lisa's dirty work.
Yeah. I agree with you. I don't think that was a control thing. I do think it was more like an allegiance thing, like you said. I thought that was kind of like a weak argument being made there. I did love Lisa's gasp, though, when Meredith was like, oh, she controls her. It was just like so theatrical. She's so dramatic. So theatrical. Like, thank you, Lisa. If that was caught at the right angle, that would have been a very good gift, but I don't think it
really would have. It really would have.
Next, we move on to Mary's racially insensitive comments.
I am upset that this was included. And I think, not because I don't think we should hold Mary accountable, because we should. But the fact that we have this whole entire segment of Jenny talking about racism and saying minorities should stick together. And then we see the vile, disgusting post that she made that got her fired from the show. Tone deaf from Bravo to leave this in. They should have cut it. This segment shouldn't have been there. I mean, I guess they don't want to let Mary off the hook, which I understand, because it's not a defense of what Mary is doing. Like, I'm not defending the things that Mary said, but to have Jenny kind of be like the voice of anti-racism when she was blatantly racist, the most racist out of any of them we've seen, is just like really a choice.
Yeah. And
I think they probably should have cut Jenny out of the reunion, personally. I think they should have edited around her as much as they could have. Personally, she didn't have a story that was like detrimental to the show, especially because Mary also isn't there. So it's like, that was her one storyline. They shouldn't have included her in the reunion. I think they had ample time to cut her out.
That, and they could have also very much they had a before the episode little thing of like, this was recorded beforehand. It could have also been by the way, we're going to go back and address the Mary stuff after, and we're going to talk to the other
Yes.
5 women about it. And we would like to be like transparent with the audience that this original conversation did center around Jenny because like Jenny did seem to be at the center of a lot of Mary's comments, but obviously we've learned more. Like there is a way that you can be transparent about what's happened and still have that conversation about holding Mary accountable. That it didn't have to center around the woman who now has been fired for racist Facebook posts.
And also, like, even in the beginning of that statement that they made, I don't recall, and maybe I'm wrong. It didn't say anything about like Bravo does not condone racism of any kind. I didn't see that. All I saw was this was filmed prior to Jenny getting removed from the show from her social media posts. These will not be addressed in the reunion. I don't think it said anything about like Bravo does not condone racism and anything else like that. Which like it's the bare fucking minimum.
Yeah.
It's the bare minimum. Just say you don't condone it and move it along. Like even that would be enough. Like we don't need Jenny to be on her high horse about it when she's just as bad, if not worse. And again, it's not a defense of Mary. What Mary did was disgusting, and what Jenny did was disgusting. But to sit there and hear Jenny talk about minorities sticking together and how, you know, it didn't sit right with me.
I 100% agree with you. That's literally the first thing I wrote in my notes was, the Jenny sensitivity thing feels gross.
Yeah.
I did like that they kind of held Meredith accountable, though.
Yeah, me too.
And I felt like her defense of not addressing the comments was very weak. Like she made it seem like, oh well, Jenny made it seem like it was it wasn't appropriate, but it wasn't something offensive where someone else had to stand up for it.
And they did show the flashback where that obviously wasn't the case. Jenny did say it was. I think she said it was racist in the show.
Yes, and for part of Meredith's story is to be this ally for LGBTQIA plus, then to kind of stand idly by in terms of racism. It doesn't feel it definitely makes the LGBTQIA stuff feel a little bit less authentic to me. And I don't not necessarily saying that's true. That's just a personal opinion on it. And I do like that they brought this up with Meredith.
Yeah, she was kind of alluding to the fact that she didn't think that she was allowed to say anything as like a white person, which like as two white women, I think that we know that we should be using our voices to be allies for people. We shouldn't stand by. And that's, you know, the least that we can do is to call people out when they say things like this and not just say, well, as a white woman, it's not my place to say that was inappropriate. That's the opposite. It's not up to the person who's being offended to have to defend themselves. They need allies around them to also call those people out for their racism and their bigotry and homophobia and anything, you know. And so that you're right. Like I think she would do it supposedly for, you know, her son because it's her son, but like, is she doing it for anybody else? I don't know. So is it performative? Is it, you know, it just seemed really, and they just she dug herself such a hole in that moment, in my opinion.
And especially because part of her beef with Jen, it was like, you outed my son and you said these things. So like then being the ally for this community that she's not a part of, like then how come you can't be an ally for a different community you're not a part of?
Exactly.
She also said that she didn't defend Jenny because she felt Jenny was attacking her the whole season, which I thought was a little far-fetched.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree that Jenny did kind of come for Meredith a little bit, but like, why should that stop you from calling out racism?
Yeah, regardless of it. That's the time.
Maybe in other things, sure, but like the racism of it all, like especially when you're in a moment where other people are talking about it and you just say, well, I don't know if it was offensive. I just wouldn't have said it. It's like, okay, I mean, come on. What are we doing?
Before we leave?
We did. Oh, sorry.
No.
I was going to say we did find out that Jenny was very upset about the re-gift of the shoes. And we do find out that Jenny and her husband gave Seth used golf balls for his birthday, which like, where does one get used golf balls from? Like, were they just like sitting around? Yeah. Like, did they walk out on the driving range and just like pick some up or like, I don't know. That was bizarre. Kind of funny though. Also like really golf balls is the gift that you're bringing to Seth's birthday party. Bring a bottle of wine or bottle of something. I don't know.
Right. I mean, they did go golfing. But
that's true.
Also, used golf. I have a hard time believing that used golf balls were provided as a gift. It just.
Do you? She didn't disagree. She was like, "Oh, I don't know. The Dewey gave them or something." She didn't say like, "Oh," she was like, "Were they used?" She wasn't like, "No, they weren't." So she seemed to like admit.
Along. So that's also kind of where I question it.
Yeah.
They kind of seem to remove themselves from the women's drama in Salt
Yeah.
Lake, where they're
I don't need these
hopefully
husbands.
they'll get along sooner rather than later, and they like cheers to it.
No, hopefully they don't. That's why we watch Husbands. Hello. Hopefully they don't.
Yeah, so I don't know if I 100% believe the used golf ball thing. I think it was a little bit of a dig just to make a point, but I don't know. Like again, where I know I said the driving range, but like where do you get used golf balls?
Literally, unless like he had them already.
He like took them out of his bag and put them in a box. That's still a lot of effort to be fucking shady. It doesn't seem like that's like Dewey's MO.
No,
that like he would. I don't think he would do that to Seth. I could see.
Probably not. Maybe it was an accident.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows?
Before we leave Jenny for hopefully like the rest of time.
I hope so.
Couple of things. I felt like her reaction to the black scent comment was so inauthentic.
It is, and she has said it on Watch What Happens Live too. And he had asked her about that, and I guess people still are asking questions. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what she was doing there.
Yeah, basically she just was like, I've always had this accent. And
but it's like obvious in the clips that's not how she talks at all times. So
there is a clear difference in it. So that's that. I will say that her comment about when Andy was like, well, you threw a glass at Mary. She's like, no, I threw it at the ground. If I wanted to hit Mary, I would have. I know you roll your eyes. However, that is like, that would be something I would 100% say.
Yeah.
Like, nah, dog. If I wanted to hit her, it would have happened. So that being the response, I mean, she probably had time to like think of something like that because it aired. So, but that resonated with me a little bit because I would no, trust me.
Yeah.
If I wanted to, I would. But
if you said it, I would like the comment. But because she said it, I didn't like it.
Greg McBean is in the chat, which
shout out to Greg.
But he goes, I think I've heard Kari say that before. So
Greg is vouching.
He's probably not wrong. So the last thing I'll leave Jenny with is where she goes, everyone is capable of being a racist. When she said that, I was like, that was left in on purpose. That had to have been left in
about that, Jenny. About that.
Like, that is truly what an English teacher could use for something called foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Yes. Our last conversation starts with, who do you think stirs the pot the most? And everybody except Lisa and Jenny vote Lisa.
I can't.
Jen did say that
there are two.
Yeah, there's one on her couch and there's one on the other couch.
Yeah.
But while I do think Whitney stirs the pot the most on camera, I think Lisa stirs the pot the most off camera.
That could be true. That could totally be true.
How many times during the season was it like, oh, last night she came into my room at 2 a.m. and she had this big heart-to-heart with me. Yeah. And now she was fine with the person that she was feuding with. And now that person is mad at everyone else in the house because of what Lisa went in and said. It happened with Mary, happened with Meredith. Like, I think I think that she's the best behind the scenes pot stirrer.
Yeah.
And I think Whitney just gets drunk and does it.
Yes, I agree with you. I didn't really think about that part about Lisa doing it off camera, which like I don't hate. It seems less thirsty to me to do it behind the scenes, even though like I want to see it happen. But like the way that Whitney and to an extent Heather were going at it this season and like going about it this season and trying to frame Meredith for calling the FBI, like why are people not mad about that? That wasn't Lisa. That was Whitney and Heather. And like Lisa gets all the heat for starting the pot. Like they made it some outlandish allegation that Meredith called the FBI. And that's where like all of this stuff stemmed from of Meredith being involved and then lying about the date. Like, are we forgetting like where this all started, but like Lisa continues to get the heat for it. It just seems weird that they're like coming off fine while Lisa gets all the heat.
And then Whitney made a comment like, I think Lisa starts it and then I like carry the baton.
Yeah, Whitney's a loser. Sorry. Sorry for not having a more profound way to say that, but she's just a loser. And I am upset that she's going to be back on my TV for another season. Can't stand her.
I don't even remember what happened after that. I just wrote just more Lisa versus the world. Like there was more piling on Lisa in this moment where why she is the biggest pot stirrer.
Yeah.
And again, I think she's just not in a good spot right now. And she kind of owns that of like, we'll get to it later.
Yeah.
But
she did say like, yeah, you guys saw my rant, but like if that hadn't happened, like think about everything like before that, or, you know, and everyone's kind of like, if that hadn't happened, but like obviously that did happen.
Yeah, she made a comment like, in the moment it was horrible character, but my character overall.
Yeah.
Which I think she has a point.
Yeah, I think she does have a point. They're really using that to come at her when like they only just found out about this. So like the night before. So like let's talk about what you were feeling in the moment instead of what you saw last night for the first time.
I mean, great job by Bravo to really like they knew what they were getting out of this by doing by the timing of it. Because you know that drama is going to come from it, where I do feel that if they didn't view the episodes the way that they did, what are you focusing on as much, I guess?
Right.
They hadn't seen that yet. And that I think is like caused the big shift in Meredith and Lisa's friendship outside of what we saw on TV. That, I mean, obviously they knew what they were doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's interesting to me. And she kind of does say that in the preview for the next episode where she's like, you guys knew what you were doing. You knew you had something in there recording me. So it does feel like she didn't know that she was being recorded, even though she like threw the mic. Maybe she had the mic turned off or I don't know. But, you know, I think it's interesting that like Lisa has become at least the villain to them. She's not the villain to me. I'm on Lisa's side. I've been obviously very vocal that I love Lisa, but just generally like, throughout the season, we've had Jen as the villain. We've had Meredith as the villain. We've had Mary as the villain. Now we have Lisa as the one that everybody's focusing on because of something that happened technically off camera. Like they didn't really know that this was going on. It's just like, it's funny how like the accountability keeps shifting and then everybody kind of like forgets about the other person. Obviously Mary's not there, but it's just interesting to me that like they keep like bouncing from person to person to be upset with.
Can you think of any other instance in Housewives where they've used something like this, like an off-camera,
like a hot mic moment?
Yeah, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but you are the historian, so I bow to you in any responses in this.
I'm sure there are some,
but nothing to the extent of what we like to say that you fucked half of New York and like.
Yeah, nothing to this extent for sure.
Because
your fake family that poses.
I think if there have been other hot mic moments, I don't know if they aren't or I should not double negative this. Anything that is picked up hot mic, that if it gets addressed later, it does seem like it'd be things that woman has already said. Or will say later. And this, I don't think that Lisa would ever say with the extremes that she did, the same stuff that she said out loud.
I agree. I don't think anything that we've heard before hasn't like shifted the tides like this has for sure.
Yeah.
I'll think and come back with something about the hot mic moments. I'm trying to think through all the seasons.
Just like the Rolodex in your head.
Yeah.
Well, that's the end of the reunion episode for us. So we've got 2 more weeks of reunions.
Yeah.
Was there anything in the previews besides Lisa walking out that
not really. Not that I can think of.
catches your eye? No. Same.
Yeah. I just hope like Heather tones it down a little bit because she's already, like I said, her stock has totally dropped. And Whitney and Heather fair weather. I'm done with them.
There's season Heather and then there's reunion Heather, and they seem to be 2 different beasts.
I think reunion Heather's probably the real Heather.
The DUI thing with her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I read a little bit about that, but I don't remember enough to talk about it factually. But they they took some shots at her, that's for sure.
Yep.
Greg McBean, who does not watch the show, goes, 2 more weeks of reunion? How long are these reunions?
Greg, we have had 4-part reunions before. This is a 3-parter.
Yeah, so we're escaping the dead episode, hopefully.
Thank God. Yeah, those have always been stretched way too thin.
So that's it. I do want to, before we leave, update you on where I am in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
And we just had the dinner in Maui where Kandi Burruss loses her shit because, first of all, like, Portia, why did you come on this trip? But second, Portia was saying, someone told me that you wanted to drug and rape me.
Is this the who said that? Who said that?
Well,
who said that?
The who said that part was the first part of her and Shamia hooking up.
Oh, okay.
And then Sheree was like, Portia, but really it was Phaedra. Like, Phaedra gets away with shit. I don't understand. Is it because, like, Phaedra's smarter and they...
Did you get to that reunion yet?
No. And I know that one... I know shit goes down because, remember, I, like, Googled because I was like, wait, what? Oh, my God. Yeah. And so I have, like, some idea. I actually accidentally fell asleep during the dinner. And when I was watching the next episode, I was like, hold on. It seems like I need to watch this.
Yeah.
So
those ladies will be back May 1st, I think. We get a new Atlanta season, so that'll be fun.
I will definitely be done by then. So
yeah, you should be done by then. Last few are a little of a snooze, last couple of seasons, but we have Sheree back this season, and Sheree makes great television. So
wait, Sheree's coming back this upcoming season again?
This upcoming season, yep.
She is so fucking messy.
I love it.
You can't tell her shit. Because
the bone collector.
Yes. Yeah, she has so many bones. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, why do you guys tell her things? I stand firm in the idea that I think Kandi is probably my favorite.
Kandi's great.
Of, like, any housewife. I think she is my
number
favorite. 1. Yeah, she brings a sense of stability, but also, like, does not hold back when she needs to tell Phaedra that, or not Phaedra, Portia, she's like, I want to fucking choke the shit out of you. Like, she has it in her and she releases it at the right moments, but she, for the most part, has that level head. And I just like a lot of things about her. I think she's my favorite. And I despise Portia.
Okay. That's fair. Like, Portia makes me laugh, but I think Portia's actually a bad person. And if you watch her spinoff, which I only watched a few episodes of, I don't know why she ever agreed to make this show because it makes her look god awful horrible. Mm-hmm. So yeah. I'm not a huge Portia fan.
She annoys me.
She is very funny. I will give her that. She and the other Atlanta ladies really do make me laugh like no one else. And Potomac makes me laugh too very hard. But Atlanta, no one, when they're at their best, they're at their best. So I do find Portia very funny. I find Phaedra hilarious, but I don't condone them.
Yeah, I'm just, like, completely out on Portia. I don't need to see more of her. However, I do get, like, what she brings, and it's just, she's so much drama, everything. And she just, like, comes up with random ass shit. It's like, and she gets, like, caught in these lies too. Like, Kandi's fucking passing out, like, color copies of this text, and then she's like, yeah, well, what of it? Like, bro, you've been lying. Why does anyone? I don't know. I'm not a big Portia person. I like Cynthia, and I like her friendship with Kenya, and I know that, like, people and she is, like, kind of boring, whatever, but I think that she also has, like, a good head on her shoulders, and I think
unless she's in the Big Brother house,
which I didn't watch, so that's fine. I don't need to know.
No, you don't need to.
I don't need to see that, but yeah, I'm at the point where they're in Maui, and Kandi almost killed Portia.
Yeah. I will say about Cynthia, she was on Watch What Happens Live this week, and Andy Cohen was asking her a lot of Big Brother questions, and he was really dragging her. He was like, do you know what Big Brother is? Have you ever seen an episode? It was actually very funny. But yeah. Also, she's apparently in a movie that's going to be on Lifetime.
Oh.
Who knew?
Good for her. She's not playing the Jamaican grandmother like she did in Kenya's show.
Oh my God, I forgot about Oh my God.
It was also weird, like Peter going on this Maui trip. Like, why? You guys are divorced.
Yeah.
Also, the time when
Yeah.
Peter made the like, hey, so my hotel room, and Cynthia was like, nah, dog. And when she went to like the bar opening, also
Andy Cohen did ask her one thing that she misses about being married to Peter, and she said the food at bar one, which I thought was pretty funny. Very clever answer.
that is funny. So yeah, that's where I am in Atlanta. I am excited to see the reunion because I know shit goes down. But I did just want to confess my undying appreciation for Candy Burris. I think
she's great.
She's one of the few housewives that my opinion hasn't ever really wavered with her. Like,
she's consistent.
Yeah, and that it's like I've liked her and I've not gone through like, oh shit. Like even at the beginning with Kenya, I'm like, girl, you're too much. But then like I've grown to appreciate Kenya. Like Candy has been a constant for me throughout all 9 seasons so far. And I'm a fan. I just want to put it out there. I like her. So Candy, if you're listening, I'll go on Candy Coated Nights. You come on here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that wraps up the last couple of weeks. We've got New Jersey, OC, and Salt Lake City coming up this week.
Yep.
So we will touch down on all that stuff next week. But in the meantime, Katie, what are you doing on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at RealSlimKatie. You can find me at twitch.tv/RealSlimKatie with an underscore at the end. You can also find me on Silent Podcast doing Big Brother Canada coverage, which is really exciting. We had our first episode last week. We have a great panel, myself, Isaiah, Josiane, and Lance, and we did our draft last week. It was a really fun episode. Give us a listen if you just want to hear a different perspective on things, because I think we have one. So it was a really fun episode, and I'm excited to carry out the season with them. They're a great crew.
Katie's full-time. She's made it.
I made it.
She isn't just a cool water show person. She is on the network. She is a true silent podcaster.
Official.
Yes.
I'm official.
She got added to the group chat, which not much goes down in anyway, but
I did.
She's here. We support this entirely. Yeah, I was really excited when I saw that you were doing that. I was like, oh, hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's going to be a really fun season. The cast is already giving us stuff to talk about, so I'm excited to get back on with everybody. We'll have some good guests coming up. It's going to be really fun.
Oh, you have guests coming too?
We have some guests. Isaiah loves a guest, so he's working his magic. So it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
Nice. I've already muted the Big Brother Canada
hashtag. Understandable.
To be fair, I have had this stance, and if Greg McBean is still listening, he can defend me on this. But our friend Kirsten was up for the vote, and I swore off Big Brother Canada after that because
they did Kirsten dirty.
Day, I truly believe 100% with all of my heart and soul that she was used as an internet marketing ploy because she had clout in the internet community for Big Brother Canada and knew that it would incite some excitement about it and just like, oh, we know that this is one of us. Plus, Rob did so much to help save Big Brother Canada. And I think it was kind of like a favor to him to throw her in there. And I think she just got used in so many different ways.
Yeah, they did her dirty.
I actually played like a lot, or not live, like a Skype org, I guess you could say, with Ryan from that season.
Okay.
And so he even said, he was like, yo, she got fucked over. Like, he's like, we found out in the house that whatever the pure person who came in, whatever her fucking name was, she got to film both an angel and devil.
Oh.
Kirsten only filmed the devil one.
Oh, shit. Justice for Kirsten.
So
ancient history by now, but justice for Kirsten.
It is.
We love Kirsten here.
But I swore off Big Brother Canada from then. I spent a lot of time on Twitter making like hashtag BB canceled jokes, hashtag like BB can you not, like whatever it was. Like I've been out, but I support our coverage of it. And my timeline, whenever the last episode was on, was just like straight up.
It's been a lot over the last week.
No, I'm not gonna watch this. Every time I've tried, I don't do it, and since then, so it's just like if you
just spilled some like hot tea.
Oh, was I not supposed to say that shit?
No, I don't care. I mean, what Ryan said. That's some hot tea.
I can't remember if he told me that like in confidence or not. I mean, we're at the
Oops.
end of a 2-hour podcast, and I know that my account should be the one everyone's following
It's all
for
good.
Big Brother Canada 6 gossip or whatever fucking season it was. But like, follow me for more. Oh, Greg made a bunch of comments. But yeah, I actually do know a decent amount more because I was one of like the first people that like talked to Kirsten when she got out. And I think part of it was because she knew that I like don't care about Big Brother. So it, she like, it wasn't like me sitting there being like, oh, so what about like,
give me the gossip. Blah, blah.
Yeah. And it was more just like, I care about you as a human because you just went through something really shitty.
Yeah.
So I do have a little bit more that I can say off air, I guess. But yeah, if I did just spill some tea, you're welcome.
Once for the crossover, for the overlap fans. Yes. I did this, but I should have done this.
The Venn diagram.
Yeah, the Venn diagram.
Yeah. Once I like sign a contract or paperwork or something for this new job, I will unprivate myself, and then I'll just say it all. I'll tweet it all, follow, retweet,
mention it all.
Yep, it's all going out there. All these secrets from years ago on a show that I wasn't even on. But follow KGD26. And I will tell you in the near future everything I know. But until then, I need to take my banner off. And then I'm going to go to Brand. You guys get the narration of me doing the step-by-step of this. It's always there's so much. Like, is there a woman named Betty on this season?
Yes, on the season of Big Brother Canada, yes.
Pictures under Brand. Can we not make a folder of these these like headshots of Big Brother people? It's just a list of them and all their pictures. Anyway, sorry, Isaiah. I hope you're not listening. Follow us. We are covering so much shit right now. And I mean shit in the nicest way possible.
Yeah.
So what? Survivor starts next week, and Gia. Yes. And Gia is like a mastermind of Survivor knowledge. She's going to be covering this Survivor season. So like if you are looking for a different perspective than the white like Gen X men who give it to you on Rob Has a Podcast, I got the place for you. Come here. Sorry, am I not allowed to talk shit about them? Anyway,
I don't know.
I'm doing it. Again, we're at the end of a 2-hour fucking
Kari's letting loose on a Saturday night here.
We're wild. Tuna tartar. Anyway, so yeah. I mean, I'm complimenting Gia and all of this really is like she knows her shit, and she's gonna be coming at you with, I think, a different perspective than maybe some of the other podcasts that you listen to about Survivor will. So you have that. Also, Gia, Naomi, and Nicole are going to be covering Top Chef, which starts this month as well. Obviously, you have Katie and the crew on Big Brother Canada. She is the leader of the crew. I don't care that Isaiah is on it. We had Amazing Race just finished, right? And Jason is doing Survivor Australia coverage. And then you have us, of course.
Yeah.
Over here doing Real Housewives. So like we have a ton of stuff and we're only expanding. So follow us. That's the point. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitch. So Twitch and YouTube, we're Silent Podcast. And then Twitter, we are Silent_podcast. In conclusion, we got a lot going on. And so if you aren't following along with everything and listening to everything, you're missing out because you are getting some cool different perspectives than the people that you hear a lot of things from already. And I think that's worth listening to. There you go. So we've been doing this for 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's been a great 2 hours though. Excellent 2 hours. And we had 2 episodes in New Jersey to cover and they just bring so much content. But we'll be back next week. Until then, enjoy your week. And we are here on behalf of Silent Podcast, where we are, as you've seen by my behavior in the last 10 minutes, anything but silent. So bye. See you next week.